We see a variety of animals and plants in our surroundings. They are known by a particular or local name like aloo, kaddu, etc. But when you go to a different place, same things are known with different names like vada, sitafal, etc. So there is a need of giving a proper name, identification and species classification, which is common at all places. So, in this module, we will learn about biological classification. At the end of this module, you will be able to understand two-kingdom classification, understand five-kingdom classification, describe the characteristics of kingdom Monera, describe the characteristics of kingdom Protista, describe the characteristics of kingdom Fungi, describe the characteristics of kingdom Plantae, describe the characteristics of kingdom Animalia, describe the characteristics of viruses, viroids and lichens. Two-kingdom classification. Biological classification of plants and animals was first proposed by Aristotle on the basis of simple morphological characters. Later, Linnaeus proposed the two-kingdom classification. This classification included all plants and animals respectively in Plantae and Animalia kingdoms. This system did not distinguish between the prokaryotes and eukaryotes, unicellular and multicellular organisms, and photosynthetic and non-photosynthetic organisms. Five-kingdom classification. In 1969, R. H. Whittaker proposed an elaborate five-kingdom classification, which includes Monera, Protista, Fungi, Plantae, and Animalia kingdoms. This classification was mainly based on different criteria like cell structure, thallus organization, mode of nutrition, reproduction, and phylogenetic relationships. Now let us learn about each kingdom in detail. Bacteria are classified under kingdom Monera. They are found in different habitats such as hot springs, deserts, mountains, deep oceans, etc. They also live in or on other organisms as parasites. On the basis of their shapes, bacteria are mainly grouped into four categories: cocci, spherical-shaped; bacilli, rod-shaped; vibrio, comma-shaped; and spirilla, spiral-shaped. Some of the bacteria are autotrophic in nature, that is, they synthesize their own food from inorganic substrates, while others are heterotrophic in nature, that is, they do not synthesize their own food. They depend on other organisms or on dead organic matter for food. Now let us know about some other types of bacteria: Archaebacteria, Eubacteria, and Mycoplasma. These special bacteria live in different habitats such as extreme salty areas, hot springs, and marshy areas. Archaebacteria have a different cell wall structure which helps them to survive in extreme conditions. Methanogens are present in the gut of cows and buffaloes. They are responsible for production of biogas from cow dung. Now let us learn about Eubacteria. They have a rigid cell wall and are flagellum if motile. Cyanobacteria or blue-green algae have chlorophyll A, so they are known as photosynthetic autotrophs. They are unicellular, colonial or filamentous, freshwater or marine or terrestrial algae. Examples are nostoc and anabaena. Chemosynthetic autotrophic bacteria play an important role in 1. Recycling nutrients like nitrogen, phosphorus and sulfur. 2. Oxidizing various inorganic substances such as nitrates, ammonia and nitrites. They use the released energy for their ATP production. Heterotrophic bacteria are helpful in making curd from milk, nitrogen fixation in legume plants, and production of antibiotics. Some are pathogens causing damage to human beings, crops, farm animals and pets. Mycoplasma. Mycoplasma lacks the cell wall. They are the smallest living cells known. They can survive without oxygen and are pathogenic in nature. Reproduction. Most bacteria reproduce by binary fission. A sort of sexual reproduction takes place by adopting a primitive type of DNA transfer from one bacterium to the other. Now let us move on. Next kingdom, that is Kingdom Protista. Kingdom Protista. All single-celled eukaryotes come under Protista. Their cell body contains a well-defined nucleus and other membrane-bound organelles. Some have flagella or cilia. Both sexual and asexual reproduction takes place. Chrysophytes, dinoflagellates, euglenoids, slime molds, and protozoans come under this kingdom. Let us learn about each in detail. Chrysophytes. Diatoms and golden algae, desmids, come under this group. They are freshwater as well as marine. They are microscopic in nature and float passively in water currents. Most of them are photosynthetic. In diatoms, the cell walls are made of silica and form two thin overlapping shells which fit together, making the walls indestructible. Their accumulated fossils are referred as diatomaceous earth. Dinoflagellates. They are photosynthetic in nature and most of them are marine. Due to presence of different pigments, they are of green, yellow, red or brown in color. Most of them have two flagella. One lies longitudinally and the other transversely. Some organisms release toxins also. Cell wall have stiff cellulose plates on the outer surface. Euglenoids. They are found in fresh water. Cell wall is absent, but a protein-rich layer called pellicle is present, which makes their body flexible. They have two flagella, one long and one short. They are photosynthetic in nature. In absence of sunlight, they behave like heterotrophs. Example is Euglena. Slime molds. They are saprophytic protists. During favorable conditions, they form an aggregation called plasmodium, which may grow and spread over several feet. When conditions get adverse or unfavorable, the plasmodium differentiates and forms fruiting bodies bearing spores at their tips. Spores possess true walls and survive for many years. Protozoans. All protozoans are heterotrophic in nature and most of them are parasites. They are broadly divided into four groups: amoeboid protozoans, flagellated protozoans, ciliated protozoans, and sporozoans. Amoeboid protozoans. They live in seawater, fresh water, or moist soil. With the help of pseudopodia, they capture the prey and also move from one place to other. Silica shells present on the surface of marine forms. Examples are amoeba and entamoeba, etc. Flagellated protozoans. These organisms have flagella. They are either free-living or parasitic. Example is trypanosoma, which causes sleeping sickness. Ciliated protozoans. They are aquatic in nature. Thousands of cilia are present on the body. A cavity, gullet, is present which opens to the outside of the cell surface. Example is Paramoecium. Sporozoans. These organisms have an infectious spore-like stage in their life cycle. Example is Plasmodium, which is the malarial parasite. Fungi shows a great diversity in morphology. They have different habits and habitats. Some fungi like yeast are useful in making products like bread and beer and penicillium for antibiotics, while others are harmful and develop many diseases in both plants and animals. Fungi are cosmopolitan in nature and occur in air, water, soil. They are also found on animals and plants. Fungi are usually filamentous except yeast, which is unicellular. The body of a fungus consists of long, slender thread-like structures called hyphae. The network of hyphae is known as mycelium. Most fungi are heterotrophic in nature. They absorb soluble organic matter from dead substrates and hence are called saprophytes. To get nutrition, some of them depend on living plants and animals, hence called parasites. They can also live as symbionts in association with algae as lichens. Vegetative reproduction in fungi takes place by fragmentation, fission, and budding. Asexual reproduction is by spores called conidia or sporangiospores or zoospores, and sexual reproduction is by oospores, ascospores, and basidiospores. Sexual cycle has following steps. Plasmogamy is the fusion of protoplasm of two gametes. Karyogamy is the fusion of two nuclei. Haploid spores are formed by meiosis in zygote. According to morphology of the mycelium, mode of spore formation and fruiting bodies, kingdom fungi is further divided into four main classes, that is, phycomycetes, ascomycetes, basidiomycetes, and deuteromycetes. Phycomycetes, they are found in aquatic habitats. They are also found on decaying wood in moist and damp places. They have a septate and choanocytic mycelium. Asexual reproduction takes place by motile zoospores or by non-motile aplanospores, which are produced endogenously in sporangium. Two gametes fuse to form zygospore. Examples are Rhizopus, Mucor, and Albugo. Ascomycetes. They are commonly known as sac fungi. Most of them are multicellular like penicillium, but some are unicellular like yeast. They are saprophytic or parasitic in nature. Few of them are decomposers or coprophilous, growing on dung. Branched and septate mycelium is found. Asexual spores, conidia, are produced on conidiophores, while sexual spores, ascospores, are produced on asci. Examples are Aspergillus, Neurospora, and Claviceps. Basidiomycetes, mushrooms, puffballs, or bracket fungi are commonly known forms of basidiomycetes. They grow in soil or on logs. They have branched and septate mycelium. Vegetative reproduction is done by fragmentation. 4 basidiospores are produced exogenously by karyogamy and meiosis in basidium. Examples are agaricus, mushroom, Puccinia, rust fungus, and Ustilago, smut. Deuteromycetes. Due to presence of only asexual or vegetative phases, they are commonly known as imperfect fungi. Asexual spores are known as conidia. They have septate and branched mycelium. They are saprophytic or parasitic in nature. Most of them are decomposers. Examples are Alternaria, Trichoderma, and Coletotricha. Kingdom, Plantae. All eukaryotic chlorophyll-containing green plants come under this kingdom. Most of them are autotrophic, but few plants are insectivorous or parasites, such as Venus flytrap and Cuscuta respectively. The main characteristics of plant cells are presence of chloroplasts and cell wall, which is mainly made of cellulose. Kingdom Plantae includes algae, bryophytes, pteridophytes, gymnosperms, and angiosperms. Life cycle of plants has two distinct phases, the diploid sporophytic and the haploid gametophytic. These phases alternate with each other, and this phenomenon is known as alternation of generation. Examples are Marchantia, Cycas, Lycopodium, and mango. Kingdom Animalia. Kingdom Animalia includes the multicellular eukaryotic organisms which have cells with no cell wall. They do not synthesize their own food, so they are heterotrophic in nature. The mode of nutrition is holozoic, by ingestion of food. They follow a definite growth pattern and grow into adults. They have a definite shape and size. Sexual reproduction is found in them. They are divided into various phyla. Examples are cockroach, pigeon, fish, and snake, etc. Let us summarize what we learnt. Linnaeus proposed the two-kingdom classification, which included all plants and animals respectively. R. H. Whitaker, 1969, proposed five-kingdom classification, which includes Monera, Protista, fungi, Plantae, and Animalia. Bacteria are included in kingdom Monera. These bacteria are either phototrophic or autotrophic in nature. Archaeobacteria, eubacteria, and mycoplasma are few types of bacteria. The protistans cell body contains a well-defined nucleus and other membrane-bound organelles. Chrysophytes, dinoflagellates, euglenoids, slime molds, and protozoans come under kingdom Protista. Fungi have thread-like structures called hyphae. The network of hyphae is known as mycelium. They are saprophytic, parasitic, and symbiotic in nature. According to morphology of the mycelium, mode of spore formation and fruiting bodies, kingdom fungi is further divided into four main classes, that is, Phycomycetes, Ascomycetes, Basidiomycetes, and Deuteromycetes. Kingdom Plantae includes all chlorophyll-containing green plants. Plant cells have cell wall and chloroplasts. Kingdom Plantae includes algae, bryophytes, pteridophytes, gymnosperms, and angiosperms. Kingdom Animalia includes the multicellular eukaryotic organisms which do not have cell wall. This kingdom is further divided into various phyla. Viruses are connecting link between living and non-living organisms. In viruses, the protein coat called capsid, made of small subunits called capsomeres, protects the nucleic acid. Viruses cause many diseases in humans and plants. Viroids do not have protein coat. They cause potato spindle tuber disease. Lichens are symbiotic associations between algae and fungi. The algal component is known as phycobiont and fungal component is known as mycobiont.